Once upon a time, on a cold, foggy night, a young man named Ethan was forced to board the last train from the city center. It was past midnight. The air had grown chilly, and dark clouds moved slowly across the sky. As the train pulled into the station with a creak, Ethan hurriedly stepped inside. The carriage was almost empty, with only a few passengers silently sitting in their seats. The dim yellow lights flickered softly, creating an eerie atmosphere. Ethan felt a slight chill in the silence of the carriage, but, exhausted, decided not to dwell on it. He found a comfortable seat, put on his headphones, and began to check his phone. As the train rolled along the tracks, the city lights faded away, replaced by dark forest landscapes. The silence in the carriage was interrupted only by the soft clatter of the train on the rails. Suddenly, a strange number appeared on Ethan's phone. At first, he tried to ignore it, but the call kept ringing. Finally, he answered. "Ethan, hello, who is this?" Mysterious voice whispering. "You boarded the wrong train." The words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. Before he could respond, the train entered a tunnel. The interior plunged into darkness, and the lights went out completely. It was so dark that he couldn't see anything. All he could hear was the faint clatter of the train on the tracks. The phone connection was lost, and an unsettling silence filled the carriage. After a while, the train emerged from the tunnel, and the lights flickered back on. Everything seemed to return to normal, but deep down, Ethan felt something was off. He glanced at the other passengers and noticed something strange about their faces. They sat frozen, staring blankly at a fixed point, as if their souls had been drained away. Unable to shake off the growing unease, Ethan stood up and decided to walk towards the other carriages. Each one felt colder and eerier. He passed through each carriage and saw only one or two passengers, but they were all the same, motionless and expressionless. A growing sense of dread enveloped Ethan when he entered one carriage. An old, dirty toy doll caught his attention. It looked like it had been forgotten there for years. Just as Ethan passed by, the doll's eyes suddenly opened, and it spoke with a metallic voice. "Toy doll, everyone is dying." Ethan stumbled back in terror. His heart raced, and cold sweat trickled down his forehead. Not knowing what to do, he rushed to the next carriage, but it was the same story everywhere: empty, cold, and eerie. Just then, the train came to a sudden stop. Ethan looked around in confusion and tried to go back inside, but the doors had shut swiftly. The train began to move away slowly, leaving him alone on the deserted platform. Looking around the station, he started hearing footsteps, but there was no one in sight. The strange, chilling sounds grew closer. From the mist emerged dark figures. Ethan felt a surge of panic as he realized he had nowhere to run. The figures approached him silently, their shapes shifting and indistinct. Narrator inner voice. "I had stepped into a wrong journey, and there was no way back." Ethan backed away, but then he saw another door emerging from the mist. In a last desperate attempt, he dashed toward it. As he opened the door, he had no idea what awaited him. The darkness behind the door seemed eager to swallow him whole. After that moment, no one ever heard from Ethan again. They say that anyone who boards the train goes missing. Some say the train leads to a mysterious path after midnight, and on that path, there is no return. If you ever find yourself boarding the last train at midnight, you might become one of those lost souls like Ethan ...